Hey everyone, and welcome to the Cat B and Andy B Inspired Connections podcast. We are coming to you today transatlantic from the UK and the US. Without further ado, let me welcome my beautiful co-host Cat B and our very, very special guest, Shining Light Parent and ND experiencer, that's a mouthful, Omar Perez. How are you all doing today?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Andy. Welcome, Omar.
Thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me.
Tell everybody your story because I met you several years ago when you lost your daughter. Tell us a little bit about her and tell us about your experience, Omar.
Absolutely. So, Chloe, my daughter Chloe Grace was 3 years old, and she crossed the veil going on four. Actually, we just hit 4 years in November, and it was very sudden. She was always a healthy girl, and suddenly she just became very sick with fevers. We rushed her to the hospital several times, and by the time that she crossed over, and we took her to the hospital, it was too late. It was too late. And so to this day, we haven't gotten an answer as to exactly what caused the illness or what caused her to pass on. Of course, like all of us parents that have lost their child or children, I was a zombie for quite a while, several months of just not even barely getting out of bed. And that's when I found the Helping Fathers Heal. And that was through my wife, through Mike Edwards at that time. And it was just, I think the group maybe had 10 of us at that point.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah,
Chloe Wynn.
yes, yes. So Sophia is here. Chloe is a twin. They're fraternal twins. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Uh, so I joined the group at that time. I was a complete mess. I think my very first time joining, I was just crying continuously through the whole hour and a half that I was there. And I stuck with the group for a while, and then I just got into a very, very, very dark place in um, my own headspace. So just to give you a little bit more background, I've been in medicine for about at that point for about almost 13, 14 years. At that specific day, I was watching over my daughters, and I struggled a lot with what didn't I see? How didn't I see it? If anyone was around that could have caught it, it should have been me. You know, the heartbreak of my daughter, Sophia, my son, Michael, who's 21 now, and my wife, of course, and just me feeling as if I didn't catch it in time and I caused all of this to happen. And that was a very difficult time I went through trying to take my own life, pushing my whole family away, friends, even the group. And I just wasn't myself. And I don't think you can ever be yourself after this, of course. It was a very, as if though I thought I couldn't get any worse, got 100 times worse after those 3 or 4 months that I was just in bed. It just got worse and worse. Then I returned to the group for a little bit of time, and again, I just couldn't. I just didn't find quite the place where I felt like I belonged. You know, so the group was amazing, and all these guys, Andy and Warren and everyone, just reaching out, and I would join for some time and skip, and join for some time and skip, and I became basically a hermit. You know, I would go from home to work, work to home, wouldn't talk to anybody, basically blocked almost all my family and friends from my phone. More than half the time, I would keep it off. Just wanting to be alone, sitting in that.
And I presume, Omar, that was quite different to how you were before Chloe passed.
Absolutely, yeah. I was not expecting the girls, but when they came along, they always say, I've heard many people say, oh, wait till you have girls. And my firstborn wasn't my son. And man, when those girls came along, it was just, I became a completely different person. I mean, not only was a helicopter parent, but it was, protector to the 100th degree and just enjoying them and loving on them. And it changed my life. It really, really changed my life. And I had lost my mother when I was very young. I was 20 when I lost her, and growing up, I just had her and my grandmother in my life. And my grandmother passed on about 10 years ago. And when the girls came, one of them looks, yeah, she is the spitting image of my mother. Spitting image of my mother. Acts like her, laughs like her, smiles like her. And Chloe always reminded me of my grandma. She was more quiet, more subdued, and the only one in our family other than my grandma with curly hair. So I said, you know what? I said, maybe this is them coming back to me, and I always found that really special. And again, now jumping ahead to what happened recently that just has changed my life completely. You and I, Kat, had a couple of conversations, and out of anyone I spoke to, I just I don't know, what you said just made so much sense and brought so much clarity at those times. And I said, there's no way anyone would have known that. And it just made sense. But even with that, the times that I was by myself, I felt just questioning everything, just saying, well, could it be this, or could she have seen this, and constantly blaming God. I grew up in a Catholic home, but I went through many religions. I went through, I mean, you name them, I've tried them. But I've always had that pit in my stomach of, I don't know if that person up there really exists. I don't know if there's a higher power. I don't know if there is really somewhere that we go. Um, and that's always been a struggle. And of course, after Chloe passed on, that became an even harder struggle. I've had conversations with, what I call my God, and cursed at him, and lost my temper, and then always felt bad and come back and said, I mean, wasn't that, there's a reason, there's a reason. But what reason could there be to lose a child? What lesson could there ever be that we need to learn? And I've fought that a lot. Now we jump forward, and this last December, I was feeling fine. I'm pretty much a healthy guy. I don't drink. I don't smoke. My daughter Sophia had come down with pneumonia, and I'd been taking care of her for roughly about 2 weeks. And I hadn't been feeling like myself, but I just figured she's sick. I probably caught something. I'm working now that I do landscaping. We deal with chemicals and all types of things. So I said, maybe I'm just both those things. And very quickly, it turned out pretty badly. So I ended up catching the pneumonia, being misdiagnosed at one of our local hospitals. I was sent home with sepsis, and the very next day went to my doctor's office, which then they shipped me in the ambulance to another hospital. And a few hours later, after being there, my left lung collapsed, my right lung collapsed. They brought me back, they intubated me, and I was under an induced coma for about a week or so.
Wow. We haven't seen each other for ages, Omar, but I remember instantly your picture in the hospital in intensive care flashed onto my screen. I was like, what has happened? That is just horrendous. And
It was
in the time that you were in the coma, did you have any awareness? Did you know what was happening?
I can tell you, I knew nothing of what was going on here. I was not here. I was somewhere, but I was not here. But I don't recall anything that happened other than I remember going into the hospital being wheelchaired in, but I don't remember anything past that because everything just kind of snowballed very quickly. When you have sepsis, it just ransacks your body. So went through that process. My wife was told that I had less than a 10% chance of survival after intubation. They put me on about 11 different antibiotics because they could not figure out, even through blood work, what exactly had gotten into my lungs, what bacteria.
Wow.
I have a set of adopted parents that I've always been close to. They were going to adopt me when I was a child before my mom passed, but she outlived the prognosis, and I always stayed close to them, and they've been my parents my whole life. They've been a blessing to me. So they called them in, they called my wife in, and my brother, my best friend. They told them, listen, you have to say goodbye because the likelihood of him coming out of this is not very good. So my wife signed a do not resuscitate, which I always wanted, and waited a few days. As things progressed, they called a specialist over from another hospital about 2 hours away, and they gave her an option of we can go in there and try to clean out his lungs as best we can and do a procedure where they basically suction everything out and try to see and take biopsies. And that was the day that they told my wife, listen, go say your goodbye because after this, we just don't know. Thank God.
Had you had COVID or anything, Omar, before?
Not during that time. I've had COVID probably about 5 different times over the last few years, but not around this time at all. It's been at least 2 years since I've been diagnosed with any type of flu or COVID. So it was very, very quickly. So they went in, they did the biopsies, they tried to find out what was going on. Ultimately, they still could not figure it out. On Christmas Day, Christmas afternoon, I'm supposed to be in a coma. I'm very sedated. They're not expecting me to come out of it. And my wife is in the room, and I start fighting the restraints. So, of course, she panics, calls in the nurses. They come in. They don't understand how I'm able to even be awake to do that. So they sedate me again, put me in a deeper sleep. And shortly after that, the doctors came in and said, listen, if he's trying to wake up, the only thing that we can do is extubate him and hope for the best. Let's see what happens. If he can breathe on his own, then that's a great thing. And we'll monitor and keep him here in the ICU and go through that process. But if he stops breathing or can't breathe on his own, you've already signed the DNR. There's not much, we can't do anything after that. So my wife has always been very faithful, always been very spiritual. And she said, well, if he's meant to be here with me, then he will be. And if he's not, he'll be with Chloe. So they extubated me. I continued to breathe on my own, and I don't start remembering anything on my own till about the 27th or 28th, where stuff starts to come in, and I was moved to a step down ICU. But I came home. I ended up coming home. I believe it was towards the end of the first week of January. So quite the trip. I feel I'm smiling because I just want to blurt it out, but
Go, go, go.
Right. Oh, wait. I tell you, because the question about God and everything comes up a lot.
yeah,
A lot of
yeah.
people really blame and get angry when they lose a child. And so there's part of me just knows that what you're going to tell me is that you not only experience Chloe, but you experience a different energy force or something along those lines.
1,000%, 1,000%. I don't recall what happened at the hospital, and I'm okay with that. I feel bad for my family that had to experience it. Honestly, the only thing I could call it is a blessing, and it was needed, and it was meant to happen, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in this world. And that's hard to say.
I can
That's
say
hard
very
to say.
honestly, last time I saw you before this incident, you were still roller coaster, and I've never seen you smile as brightly as you're smiling now.
It's hard for me to say that, to say I wouldn't trade it for anything, because of course, just a few months ago, I would trade anything to have my daughter back here by my side. And that's not to say that I don't miss her. That's not to say that I don't want her back here physically. Basically, what I experienced was I did cross the veil. I did cross over the other side. I got, even if that was an ounce of what we're expected to go, what's after this, it's given me so much faith. It's given me so much life. It's given me so much joy, and I'm tearing up talking about it because it's happy tears, it's joyous tears. When when I went under, sorry guys, when I went under, opened my eyes, and all I could see is just a winding path. And it's not white, it's not that bright light at the end. It gets brighter, but it's not this bright white light that I've heard people say. It was this white, gray, blue mist. And it was just a winding path. No, not a winding path like in the woods or anything, just a winding path in this mist. And I felt so light. I felt healthy, felt a lot of people say peace, and I definitely felt peace, but I told the guys this. I said it was this overwhelming feeling of fulfillment. There was nothing that I yearned for, nothing that I wanted, nothing that I missed, nothing I was craving. It was just total, absolute fulfillment, complete fulfillment. And I continued to walk down this path. And as I'm walking down this path, there were two completely different views on my left as opposed to my right. On my right hand side, it wasn't pictures, it wasn't little images, it was literally as if I was watching my life in different stages on my right hand side. So I saw my marriage when we got married, when my wife and I first met, when we had our son. We took this trip to the lake when we were younger, my wife and I, because we've been together for 25 years. We must have been about 16 years old at that time. And I just kept seeing these, and it just kind of blended into each other, just these times in my life that stick out to me in my head, that I always remember, that I remember everything about. And I just kept walking and just enjoying them. Of course, I came upon some of them where, when my mom passed in my arms, and then of course when Chloe passed on, I experienced those again. And to my left hand side, there was just a crowd of people. I mean, a crowd of people going down as far as I could see. And some of them I recognized right away. Others I had no idea who they were, but I felt as if I knew them, or as I just forgot who they were, or maybe I'm going to meet them. I just had that feeling. And as I walked, all I heard was kind of like when you walk into a room and people are into a get together and people are talking and laughing and chit chatting. And that's what it sounded like off to my left. I came upon this woman who was very fair skinned, curly hair, and glasses. And there was something that drew me to her. And I went to her and I said, I'm so sorry. I feel like I know who you are, but for the life of me, I cannot remember. I can't put you in my life. Like, I just don't know. And she was very warm with me. And She put her hand on my cheek and she rubbed my cheek with her thumb and she goes, "Don't worry, darling. You will. You'll remember." And then she patted me on the shoulder, on the left shoulder, and she kind of just sent me on my way to keep walking. So I kept walking on my right hand side again. I kept seeing just all these images of my life, my grandmother, getting my first apartment with my wife. I mean, just all these wonderful memories. And of course, in there, the loss of my mother and my grandmother, my Chloe. And then I came upon a man, again on the left hand side, elderly with a white beard and a cap on. And again, I just felt this need to go up to him and ask him. I said, "Listen, apologize, I should say. I'm so sorry. I feel I know who you are in my life, but I can't pinpoint you." And he put his hand on my head. He tapped my head, kind of like I was a kid. And he just said, "It's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry about it." And he smiled and sent me on my way. And then I come to this part of the path where on my right hand side I see my wife and my son in our current living room with my daughter's urn on the coffee table. And my wife is just in tears and my son trying to console her. When that happened, I looked at the image and then I looked towards the path and I blinked my eyes and I was laying down. I couldn't open my eyes. I wasn't nervous. I wasn't scared. I wasn't fearful of anything. I was very comfortable. That feeling of fulfillment was still there and so strong. But of course, I asked, I said, "I just want to open my eyes. Why can't I open my eyes?" And I kept trying, but it wasn't such a concern to me to open my eyes. I more wanted to, hey, can I just go back to that path? I just want to see what else is there. I want to see what else is left for me to see. And I tried to raise my head and I felt this heavy, heavy, heavy hand on my forehead just kind of push me down, but not aggressively. It was heavy, but gentle and calm at the same time. I wasn't afraid. And I heard the words very sternly, but again, just so lovingly and so calm, just no. And I laid there and again, my eyes closed and just yearning to go back to that path and feeling so fulfilled and so much joy and just calm. So, of course, I try to get back up again and I feel this hand on my chest and I hear the word no again. Suddenly, I open my eyes and I'm in this room. I can't even say it's a room because it was an open space. It was this vast open space, same mist. And out of the left hand side, of where I am, here comes Chloe. And she is dressed in a long sleeve burgundy shirt. She's got her little blue tights on, her sneakers. Her hair's gotten longer just as I had imagined, curly and down almost to her elbows. And she comes kind of not running, but this fast walk to me. And I'm sitting kind of cross-legged on the floor and I can't move anywhere, but I'm okay. Like there's no reason for me to move. She comes to me and we got to speak. And the thing about it was we weren't moving our mouths. There was no need to open our mouths and speak at all, which again is something I hadn't noticed previously with the man and woman that I had encountered, that I had spoken to them, but never realizing their lips never moved. So I'm with Chloe. She sits on my lap. I get to hold her. I get to put my head on her, my face on her head and just smell her hair and just take it in because you always, especially when they're babies, you have that smell that just never leaves you. Yes, I would always lay with her and place my nose against her head and just say, "Oh my God, you smell so good." And it's just something that I missed so much, that I've longed for so much. And she proceeded to look at me. We had a pretty long conversation. She tells me, she goes, "Dad, you know something? You were right. What I had to do, I did. And I did a really good job, Dad." And I gave her just this huge, tight hug where, you don't want to let go, but unbelievably, I was okay letting go. She got up, she gave me a kiss, and she told me, she said, "I'll see you soon, Daddy. I love you." I never got to hear her. Chloe was delayed in her speech. So at 3 years old, she was still finding her way through language, and you know, she would speak. Every once in a blue, she'd say some things to me in quiet, but our Sophia was, talking up a storm at that point, and Chloe just wasn't there yet. But I was able to hear that soft, raspy voice that she had. And I can't explain the feeling. She proceeds to walk away. And like I said, amazingly, I was so okay with it. I looked at her and I just felt this. She's okay. She is healthy. There is nothing I could have done. She is happy. If anything, as parents, we want our children to be happy, to be healthy, for nothing to ever happen to them. And at that moment, looking at her, I knew with 1,000% confidence that she is exactly how I want her to be. She is safe. She is healthy. She is happy. She is taken care of to a degree that not even I think I could have taken care of her here on this side. Suddenly, out of the right corner, my dog comes barging out. We had a little terrier. Her name is Leela. She comes barging out and just climbs all over Chloe. She looks surprised and so happy. She's like, "Oh, Leela, Leela." And she's letting the dog lick her, and she's laughing, and she's happy, and they walk away together. And I sit there in that same spot for no more than a minute, blink my eyes again, and I feel kind of, I don't know if you've ever been on those rides at the amusement parks that kind of drop you. We call it the elevator. It just kind of drops you. And suddenly now I am in a very large room with the same mist, but I'm on the floor and I can feel everything, you guys. I can feel anger, frustration, guilt, loathing, every pain, desperation. Just, I felt it in my bones, and I am crying and crying and crying and crying, and it hurts so bad. It's like everything that we feel here, that on this side, that we deal with on a daily basis, the grief, the pain, the anger. It's like it was taken into a ball or an orb and just shoved into my chest.
Was it your own emotion, Omar?
Yeah, it was my own. And it was everything that I have felt guilty about, everything that I regret, everything that I fear. But it was just all at one time. And it was so intense, so intense. And I felt like I was there for what must have been, it felt like an eternity. And then I close my eyes tight and I scream and I just say, "Please let me go." Then I just remember being in the steps out ICU, opening my eyes and seeing my family, and I wasn't able to talk at that point. And I remember the doctor coming in and the nurses coming over and moving a bunch of stuff on me, and my wife and my parents in the back, and my best friend and my brother there. And but I can't speak. I couldn't speak for at least a good week and a half when I got out from all the damage that was done to the
Did you
tubes
feel
and
relieved,
everything.
Omar? Did you feel relieved to be back, or did you just feel like a little bit spaced out?
I have to say that I was trying so hard to tell them, "I saw Chloe, I saw Chloe. I have to tell you this, I have to tell you this." There was nothing that I felt would have stopped me except I didn't have a voice. I couldn't get it out. And
When
I'm
I
sorry,
saw my guide, when I saw my guide in Omar, I was so spellbound. I had the same thing. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't get the words out. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I completely, I didn't know I was at the hospital. I didn't know where I was. And that wasn't my primary concern. My primary concern is I have to tell my family what I just experienced, who I just saw. I have to, and I could not get it out. So they calmed me down. They told me to take it easy, that I wouldn't be able to speak for a little bit. And, so I looked at my son, who can kind of read me. We're pretty much alike, my son and I. And I just kept doing this. I kept doing this to him. So he runs out to the nurse and he's like, "Listen, do you have like a whiteboard? Do you have anything that we can write on?" And of course, they
Wow.
didn't have anything. So my brother goes out and goes to the nearest dollar store and gets himself a white marker erase board and brings it into the room. And I just wrote everything down and I would show them. And I couldn't really move too much. So it was just my hand and just kind of me looking down and my brother or my son holding the board. And I wrote everything down and they would erase it and I would write what happened next and they would erase it and I would write it was hours of just getting it out. I could not get it out. I needed to get it out. And it needed to happen right then and there. It could not wait. Of,
Excited.
yeah, yeah. And of course, everyone's crying, and I can't tell you how many people, while I was not here, and then when I came back, between nursing, doctors, facilities, dietitian, people I did not know came in and laid by my side and prayed with my family, prayed with my children. I never felt that before, especially in a hospital. And coming from a hospital where I used to live, that's a big, just wasn't, "Hey, we don't do that. You keep it professional." And to have people do that was just, I mean, I felt every single one of those prayers. I got home about a week and some change later, and I walk through the door, and of course, I'm seeing my Sophia for the first time because she wasn't allowed at the hospital. And then a little bit later, I look around and I'm like, "Where's the dog?" I'm surprised she hasn't come out and run up here and licked me, you know, from head to toe. My wife sat me down and she told me, she said, "I didn't want to tell you this at the hospital because there was just a lot going on, but I had to put Leela down the day before you woke up. She started having seizures and she was not well when you left. And I had no other choice. I felt that it was the right thing to do."
God.
And she began to cry because, of course, the story of what I thought was Chloe telling me, "Please take care of my Leela," because she had this connection with the dog. I mean, she would come down the stairs in the morning and just drop on the floor on her back and let the dog just lick her, and she would giggle. And Sophia, not so much. Sophia would always say, "No, no, no, I'm okay. I don't need her licking me." But Chloe has this thing, and I always, after experiencing that on the other side, I thought to myself, she's telling me to take care of the dog, to remember how much she loves her, to remember to take good care of her like I would, Dad. And it wasn't
So
that.
look at the divine timing of that, Omar. Look at the divine timing.
Yeah,
That
Yeah.
is just, that is not a coincidence. That is no way.
not at all. Not at all. I don't believe in coincidences anymore.
But also, if the dog had died and you'd been okay and you hadn't been in the coma, you'd have been devastated because of the link between the dog and your daughter as well.
Absolutely.
It would have been double the impact. But the fact that you see them on the other side and then you're told afterwards the dog has passed, and so you're actually seeing the dog in its divine state of being. It's just wow.
Absolutely.
Like, wow.
As if I needed, I mean, I gotta tell you, I didn't need a sign or anything validating after that experience at all. I know what I experienced. I know what I saw. I know what I felt. But to then come home and see that what I saw played itself out here. And again, my wife is not a doubter. She's never been. She's such a spiritual person. But to see my son, from what I was told afterwards, and he said, "Dad, when you said that in the hospital, my eyes just got the size of oranges because he was around. He was there with my wife when they put Leela down." Again,
Because
it's
he
such an
knows
amazing,
you don't know, and here you
yes,
are writing it on the board.
yeah,
He must have like beside
and
himself.
he he's always been a big doubter in spirituality and faith and any religion and anything. He just very much like me when I was younger, and this has been transformative for him.
How can I ask you now? How do you feel about the source energy? How do you feel about God?
I have to tell you that if there was any doubt in my life that I've ever had, and I've had a lot of doubt, I've lost the people that raised me, the people that were closest to me. Um, I always doubted God. I always felt like I was being punished for something that I had done or something that I was going to do. I tried to live my life in a way where I tried to do nothing wrong and suck it up when things got bad. And if there is anything that this has taught me is I was never put in these situations. I wasn't put in them by him. I was walked. I was carried. My hand was held, and it is continuing to be held.
Yeah.
The amount of faith that I have now in God and across the veil, the other side, what is to come for us is so rich that there's no way I could ever doubt that. No way I could ever doubt it for the rest of my life here. There's no way. I would be doing
Well, Omar, what I find most, I mean, there's lots, so much powerfulness in your story, but when you say you have faith, my argument is you don't have faith, you have knowing. And I forget the Greek word, but it's like gnosos or something like that. And that is a knowing. It's like, here's faith and here's knowing, right? It's like you have a personal experience. And to me, that's what's great about this entire topic is you don't have to take anybody's word for it. You get to experience it, right? And that to me is the most significant, right? You experienced the veil in real time, meaning there's no way you could have known that your dog had passed, but yet you saw your dog go through the veil in essence, right? I mean, there's just, I mean, visiting, you know, your daughter visiting you and just you knowing, not thinking, not believing, not expecting, but knowing that your baby is taken care of better than even you could have taken care of her. For a grieving parent, when you were saying that, I was losing it internally, because that's exactly what I felt with Josh, is that I was very angry at God. You know, we kind of all feel that, I think, to some extent. But then realizing that, you know, he's better than I am, right? Our kids are way
Absolutely.
better than we are right now.
Absolutely. And and that's something that's very difficult for, for me, and I know for all of the guys that were on the group, and parents that are out there. It's very hard to stomach that and say to yourself, they are better than we are right now. They are where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, you don't believe it. You don't believe it. I
No,
think what you're stating there, though, Omar, is so powerful for any viewer listening to know that if you've experienced that their loved one too is equally as well and healthy and happy and comfortable as your Chloe. I mean, that's probably the most important statement that for anybody listening, that your child,
absolutely. It is
everybody's okay.
something that I'm definitely still processing. Um, I spoke to a couple of the dads, and there's this. It's hard to call it guilt. In a sense, it feels like guilt, but in a sense, it just feels it happened because it needed to. But if I could give anyone that has struggled with child loss, even just an ounce of what I was blessed to experience, I would give anything to do that. And that feeling of guilt of why me, why I was the one that was able to experience it, and not my fellow brothers and sisters.
Well,
I'm
oh,
processing that.
knowing your story, I think it happened to exactly the right person.
I appreciate that. I just wish I could give that
Bless you.
fulfillment, that peace to everyone
But
that's in these shoes.
I think in sharing it, Omar, you are. And that's what is really the super blessing, is that you did go on this roller coaster ride and you've come back. And I know, because I've seen your face and I've met your wife and I've seen how your face lights up when Chloe talks and speaks through somebody. And I just, for me, I don't know, there's tears rolling down my face because I'm just so overjoyed for you. I am just so thrilled that you've had this experience. And I know that just you sharing it today, as you will in many different guises in the future, and that's maybe where all these people that were welcoming you comes in. You know, that's part of really your legacy now, is to explain what you've encountered to help other people, and that's just so beautiful. It's
Yeah,
so
there's
beautiful.
people that need to hear your story, and they need to hear the bad part of it that I'm
Yeah,
familiar with, and this, because, and I tell the dads this all the time, Omar, you're probably tired of hearing it, but
never.
the day will come when you have to share your story, because you're the only one that will be able to communicate it to the person that needs to hear it the most.
Yes,
And Omar, your story, I mean, yeah, it's to me, it is so life affirming. Yeah, because I mean, darkness is real and people don't talk about it, and it's so hard, and the doubt and the anger and the guilt and all of those emotions you were talking about, nobody really talks about them, right? And here you go through and you experience, you know, that other side, even for just a little bit. Yeah, there's lots of people that need to hear your story.
Also,
and
the piece about like doubting God or being angry with God or furious with God or source, whatever, universe, whatever you want to interject it. The fact that
correct.
you tried all these religions as well, isn't that fascinating? You tried all these religions, you still couldn't find that essence of what you felt the source energy was, and then you have this experience and you just know it. You
And
maybe
that's the
can't.
thing. It's like it's so clear to me inside me. It's beyond. People say I feel it in my heart. It's beyond that. It is such an amazing feeling, and there's nothing that can make you doubt it. There's nothing that can ever take that away. Listen, I know there are going to be hills to climb in the future. but I have the amazing gift that was given to me that I can stop and say, Omar, this is not the end of who you are. This is not where life stops. This is not worth worrying about. This is not worth, killing yourself over. It's okay. And
That's
and that's something that I wish I could give to everyone. And another thing that sits with me is, and I spoke to the dads about this, I said, we are constantly looking for signs from our kids. And a lot of us, because I know I have, you're looking for that very specific sign that only stands out to you. It has to be this way. It has to be this color. It has to be this sound. And understanding that they are trying so hard that if you just stop and you just listen and you just go about your day, you are going to run into their signs like hitting a wall, and they're going to make sense to you and only you. You don't have to look so hard. Give them that grace, give them that opportunity to express to you how much they love you, how much they're still there, how much they want to prove to you that they're by your side. And I looked for, like many of us, you look for that one specific thing. Oh, it has to say this. It has to be this. It has to be that. If not, no, I'm going to doubt every single time. And when we get those signs, we still doubt them. I can tell you with such confidence that they send us so many signs. And it's not necessarily when we want, it's when we most need it. And the ones that we most need are those that are going to be blatant, right in our face, that we can't deny. But the other ones that give us that encouragement to take one step at a time every single day, every single hour. And for a lot of us, every single moment that we wake up in the morning to the end of our day, they are
Preach,
sending it to
preach,
us, and we
preach.
have to be open. We have to show them that grace. We have to give them that opportunity to be open to them being around. It may not be how we want it. It may not be how we imagined our lives to be. But I can tell everyone listening to this, they are here. There is no stopping them from being here by us. We're not at the same frequency they are. But I can promise you, I can tell you with 1,000% confidence, they are in such good hands. They are in a place where everything that you want for them is being given to them and then some. Oh my goodness,
Omar, amazing. And I mean, it goes without doubt. Life is, so every day since this has happened to you feels amazing, like incredibly different. Every
I
day,
don't
you've got an
feel like
appreciation for
myself. I don't feel like myself, and for the first time, I can say that's a good thing. And I don't want to feel like my old self. I don't want to feel any of that. I have woken up every morning with that calm in my heart, knowing that as much as I miss my daughter, as much as it pains me not to have her by my side and watch her grow, I know, just like Andy said, I know that she's okay. And if she's okay, and I know it's going to be hard for a lot of people listening to this because I've been there. I know those shoes. And a lot of you might not have the opportunity, the gift that I was given, but I can tell you they are so good. They are so good. They are so happy. And they are reaching out to you every moment. You just need to be open. Just open your heart, open your mind. Don't look for things that are specific. They will send you things, they will send you signs that are meant for you, that you will feel, that you will know in your heart of hearts is them. Just be open. Be open. Please be open because they try so very hard.
God, what a great message. What a great episode. Wow.
your energy's changed as well, Omar. I can honestly say you feel different. Your energy feels different.
I feel so grateful, feel fulfilled in a way I've never felt. I feel my daughter close to me more than ever. I'm not, the things that used to bother me, the little things like, oh, this has got to get picked up, that's got to get done. That doesn't bother me. It doesn't hold any weight anymore. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of what's to come. I'm not afraid of where I'm going. I'm not afraid if it happens now, if it happens tomorrow, if it happens in 10 years. I'm not afraid. I can enjoy my children and not be so afraid for them and constantly being this helicopter parent after Chloe went out ahead of us where I needed to and know where they were and keep tabs on them and feel this constant worry. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. And it's such an amazing feeling to have that, to wake up in the morning and say, wherever this day goes, whatever is going to happen to me today, it was already planned. It was already written. I agreed to all of this, and this is not the end for me. I know what I'm working towards. I know where I'm going. I know where we're all going. And again, I know I didn't get all the way there. There's so much more there. I know I didn't get all the way. But what I did get to feel and experience and see is so amazing, is so fulfilling that there's nothing here on this plane that could even slightly compare to it. And the one thing I did want to add is before, I have heard a lot of people say when they have these experiences that they don't want to come back, they don't want to come back. I didn't feel like I didn't want to come back. I just had this complete and total feeling of assurance that no matter if I stayed or came here,
You'd be fine.
they were going to be okay. They were going to be perfectly fine. There is nothing that I could do to make their life turn out a certain way that's set in my mind here on this plane. They were going to be fine. They were going to be okay. Would they hurt? Would they grieve? Absolutely. But they were going to be okay. And that was something that I've never felt in my life. I've always felt like, well, if I don't do this, this is going to suffer, that's going to suffer, or they're going to suffer. And to have that feeling of, no, they're going to be okay. This is the way it's supposed to be is an amazing feeling. And again, I wish I could bottle that up even in a 16th of an ounce for everyone that I have come across, every dad that I've spoken to, every parent that I've spoken to that has had their child go ahead of them. I would do it in a heartbeat. I would do that. I would do that faster than anything else that I could possibly do here on this side. And that's including having my Chloe here because I know that I'm saying it to you guys now, and I've said it before, but saying it to you guys now. Who can see themselves saying that? Who can feel themselves saying that and not feeling like they're betraying their child or betraying that feeling? But honestly, if I could, that's what I would do because I know my Chloe's okay. I know that she's healthy. I know that she's happy. And I know, just like she said in her own words, what she needed to do here, she did. And she did a great job. So it's an amazing experience and
So beautiful.
I'm beyond grateful for you guys and everything that has come along with this journey and what's yet to come. So thank you
Oh,
guys so much.
I'm just so chuffed for you. Honestly, you're somebody that really touches your heart anyway. I remember on the couple of occasions that I've met you and your wife, there's something so beautiful about you. And I've always been touched when I've met you because I've always found you so open and so appreciative of everything. Even though I know you're saying it's nothing to how you appreciate life now. I can't think of it happening. I mean, I would love Andy to experience seeing Josh, but the joy I feel for you, I just know I can feel the vibration is different, but also just to know that you're going to be okay, that you're going to live your life, not just that your daughter, Chloe, is fine, is that actually you're going to be fine, just is so important to me. And I just feel joy for you. You have brought some of that energy back with you, Omar. It's just incredible. And you feel different. You really, really do.
I do. I feel completely different, and that's from, like I said, from a place inside that I haven't felt before. I feel different, and I can't let that go to waste. I can't let that. I can't not share that with people. Again, it's taken me a little bit. I'm taking my time, and the reason I'm taking my time is not because I don't feel rushed. I feel like there is a
You've got
set time and place for these things,
Yep.
and
absolutely.
I'm just listening around me to let me know when it's time to take the other step and take that other step and take that other step. And again, that's something that again I'm kind of trying to feel out and just kind of let it happen, but I don't feel a rush.
I think it's something really important as well for the viewers to realize and understand as well the divine timing and the unlocking of things in its own moment. So many people rush to do so many things very quickly, a burden perhaps sometimes to themselves, but also that has an impact. And I think there's something very beautiful about letting the unfoldment of spirit happen in the divine time that it's supposed to happen and just be willing, not having to push anything, not having to demand anything, not having to challenge anything, just knowing it, if it's meant to be, it's going to unfold, it's going to happen. I mean, that's very powerful a message in itself, Omar.
I know there's a lot of great things to come, and the things that aren't going to be so great, I have that knowing now that essentially at the end of the day, it will be fine. I'll tell you, I'm still looking for those two people. And when I go to the grocery store, when I'm at the gas station, when I'm at work, I'm just like, I'm going to find you or I'm going to remember you And that's been kind of that secondary thing that I've taken from her. It's like I have to search. It's like where's Waldo, you know? Like I have to find these people in my life, whether it's in the past, whether it's the future. My eyes are open to that now, which is kind of a fun game, I guess. You know, like I said, we're finding where's Waldo, just kind of like where are they and what role they're gonna play in my life. So my entire soul is open to anything right now, and will continue to be going forward. There's no changing that. So, and I did want to
Amazing.
mention something to you, Kat. A while ago, we spoke probably about a year and a half ago, and you told me about a tree in the corner of my yard. And I know I'm frozen on the screen there. I've been trying to get it fixed, but I can't. But right behind me is a fig tree that I've started to grow, and I wasn't sure it was going to come back, and it came back this year in full bloom, and it's going to get planted right down by the stream in just a couple of weeks when she's ready. So I wanted
Oh,
to
that's amazing.
relay that to you to let you know that it made all the sense to me why I had to pick that plant and that tree and where it goes. So
Oh,
just wanted to let you know.
that's amazing. Thank you so much for joining. Such a pleasure. And I just totally blown away. I'm totally blown away. I know Andy is too. It's amazing. Really appreciate you. I love you so
Thank you
much.
guys. Thank you
Thank
guys.
you.
I love you so much, and I can't thank you enough for what you do for all of us. I really do.
Bless you. Take
Thanks,
care.
brother.
All right.
Thank you.